All right. So the first question is, can you describe the incredible legacy of these characters and this series and what made Marvel decide to bring it back?
X-Men has an incredible legacy. It's almost 60 years old, or over 60 years old. And you know, we love these characters. Every single person that worked on the show loves these characters, knows these characters, and is a fan of the original series. For me personally, the original show was seminal and influential on my life as a storyteller and a creator. And it's true among so many filmmakers we meet with, that the original show is influential on them and their work. And it's just exciting to bring it to the screen.
Awesome. Thank you. What elements of the original series had to be maintained, and what did you want to update, change, enhance, etc.?
So from the beginning, we wanted to emulate our memory of the original show. So the original series, you know, it actually has stylistic shifts throughout each season if you watch it all in a row. And we analyzed it. We met with Eric and Julia Leewald and Larry Houston, who became consultants on the show, and really were able to explain why they made the choices they made that led to the aesthetic of the original series. And it was on us to create stylistic guardrails so that we could always go back to that 90s style of soft curves and big muscles and too many packs and straps and big bold colors that made it feel like the OG show.
Nice. All right. Can you describe the balance of action and adventure with the weightier themes that X-Men is known for?
You know, they're characters that fight for a world that fears and hates them. So there's a lot of conflict and angst just inherently in the story, because they want to be accepted by society, and it's a society that sees them as a threat. So, you know, there's a lot of self-evaluation and soul searching that happens within these characters just because of their predicament at the time and place that they live on the planet. But because they're together, because they're in a school, because they're in a space, because they work on a team, there's a lot of character drama. There's a lot of romance. There's a lot of tension, and there's a lot of conflict that happens between, you know, characters that we love. And one of the things that makes the X-Men is how many sparks they make when they collide with each other.
Awesome. All right. So where does the series pick up, and what are the X-Men dealing with as the series gets underway?
So the series picks up just after Charles Xavier is presumed dead. He was assassinated, and if you know the original show, you know that, like, you know, he never actually dies on screen. In fact, he's launched into outer space to go visit Lilandra, his Empress girlfriend on a faraway planet, to see if they can heal him. And in our first episode, we see that there's actually a death certificate for Charles Xavier, and it leaves Cyclops in a place where he has to lead the team, and he does so successfully. But in an ironic twist, which is very X-Men, turns out Charles Xavier left the school and all his fortune and the team to his old friend and biggest rival, Magneto, who becomes the new leader of the X-Men.
Nice. You may have already answered part of this, but how do the episodes progress, and what can fans expect?
So the episodes progress, you know, week by week, and there are no insignificant episodes. It's a 10 episode series. Each one moves the story forward in a bold way. So it feels like, just like the original series, which was the first serialized piece of content that I ever saw, there was a, you had to watch the next episode to find out what happened. That's the way X-Men 97 is designed as well.
Okay, great. How would you describe the animation style?
So it's an intentionally retro style. We are trying to emulate the 90s. And it's easier said than done. We live in, and make work in 2024 where almost anything we can conceive of can be conjured on screen. So through many conversations with the original show creators and our design team, we were always arcing ourselves back to the 90s. For example, we're all fans of anime, and it's very easy to kind of go in a very angular direction and a very dynamic kind of like deep space choreography. And we had to put limiters on ourselves to make it feel like the old show. That meant curves, that meant bold lines, that meant flat space, and not moving on the Z-axis unless we really had to. Now we break those rules all the time, but we break those rules with a lot of intention. So for example, in the first episode, when the jet gets ripped open by a Sentinel and Cyclops flies out, suddenly we move in deep space, and it just brings the whole thing to life in this impactful way. So we have kind of a code of ethics, and then we intentionally break it when we need to emphasize something to kind of have a massive impact.
Cool. What drew you to the Newton brothers, and how does the music enhance the storytelling?
So the Newton brothers, they're amazing musicians. They like everyone else on this show, they love the X-Men, and they love that original series. So when we met with them, it became very clear very quickly that they were the right guys for the job. And they obviously reworked and reorchestrated throughout the series that iconic X-Men theme, but they also took in the entire score from the original series and were able to modernize it and enhance it in certain ways. But like the art style, we're going for a feeling, we're going for a vibe, and had to we're guided by the same light we all were, which was to revive our memories of this thing.
What do you think will surprise fans about the new series?
There's a lot that's going to surprise fans about the new series. The story has twists and turns that you don't see coming. It has extreme highs and extreme lows. It makes you laugh, and it makes you cry. I mean, there's episodes that I've seen, over a dozen times, and I still cry when I watch them. So there's lots to surprise audiences with this one.
Awesome. 2 more questions. What does it mean to have this title launch the brand?
So there's no better way to launch the Marvel animation branding than with X-Men. It was a show that was so fundamental to so many artists and creators that we've worked with over the years. As an animated show, it was one of the most influential shows for a lot of people, in my generation. And I can't think of a more fitting way to reveal the Marvel animation logo.
Awesome. Why was now the right time for this series?
I remember when we first met with the Leewalds, they told us, that they met with Stan Lee when they made the original show, and Stan, how much Stan supported them, and that they would talk about how when he and Jack launched the book in the 60s, many of those social problems, that the X-Men deal with in their story existed in the 90s, 30 years later. And now here we are 30 years after that. And we still need the X-Men, I think, as an outlet to have some of these conversations, and to be a reflection of our world.
Describe your background with the X-Men. Are you a longtime fan? And what did it mean to you to work on this series?
Oh man, am I a lifetime fan? Am I a lifelong fan? And what did it mean for me to work on this series? 6-year-old me would be absolutely thrilled and not believing myself that I have this job. Um, eh, for myself, X-Men goes back to when I was a kid and Pizza Hut was doing those promos with the VHS tapes to get Night of the Sentinels 1 and 2, or we could watch Morph die over and over again. But that spawned my love of the series, which in turn got me to watch the show once it was officially on broadcast. And then as far as what it means to me to be on this show, it's nothing short of a dream come true. It's one thing to be asked to be on an X-Men anything, but it's another thing to be asked to be on this X-Men show, that X-Men show. Right. And so to not only get to grow up to be a fan and be inspired by the show, and it's one of the very shows that pushed me to be an artist, pushed me to be into comics, to be a big nerd, to get to contribute to the long timeline that is the X-Men IP and the love for the franchise, and to be an official blip, however large or small it may be, but just to get to be an official blip on that timeline is pretty dang humbling.
That's awesome. All right. Why do you think these characters made such an impact with audiences?
Why do I think these characters have made an impact with audiences? For me, I believe it just comes down to the simplicity of there's so many characters and so many unique backstories and lives and points of view that are in the X-Men roster. There's just so many characters that I find that I think the reason why people love it and relate to it so much is because they can see themselves in a character. There's a character for everybody to relate to. And I think, when you have enough of these characters, enough people in the world can find themselves in the comics or the show or whatever medium they have. And that's what I feel keeps them coming back. Keeps them learning, keeps them exploring new POVs or seeing things in a way they haven't seen before.
Nice. What is that special sauce for the X-Men that had to be maintained in this new series?
Oh, the core. I feel the secret sauce that needed to stay in the show, that was fundamental to stay in the show, was the allegory of why X-Men were created in the first place: prejudice. The minute you take that element away from the X-Men team or the roster, they become a different team. They become a different superhero squad. They are no longer the X-Men. And I think bringing that, but not shying away from it, but bringing it in, with a level of higher storytelling and a message to say about stuff, to just even get talking points. I think that's why I feel this one is so just monumental in audiences' minds and hearts, and why it's more relevant than ever to bring back.
Awesome. Set up the new series for us. How many episodes are there, and what's in store for the characters?
The new series, we have 10 episodes. Each one heavier than the last. The show does not stop. We do not let up off the gas. You can look forward to our characters following their mission statement, protecting a world that hates and fears them, but at the same time discovering stuff about themselves, discovering stuff about their found tribe, their family, figuring out where they fit in where their place is in an ever-evolving world. And just it comes down to Magneto's, to quote Magneto in episode 2, coexistence is messy. And the X-Men really figure that out and try to solve that in our series.
Awesome. How would you describe the animation style?
How would I describe the animation style? I would describe it as fresh but familiar. It's the show that you love and remember, but brought into 4K, and in all aspects of what that means, from action to the way the mutant abilities are designed, to the way there's nuance in acting, to how things are edited, to anything and beyond all that. That's where I just think audiences will love the unique approach of fresh but familiar. It's the show you remember, but also it's still relevant and modern enough to be out there and enjoyed today.
Nice. Let's see. What storyline are you most looking forward to sharing with fans?
What storyline am I most excited to share with fans? I wish I could say. You would have to just watch the show and find out.
Awesome. What role does music play in storytelling? Can you describe working with the Newton brothers?
Absolutely. Working with the Newton brothers has been nothing short of just an amazing collaborative process. That phrase kind of gets thrown around so much these days, but it's absolutely true with them. They are getting to watch them work together in tandem to execute and create the overall grand vision for what it means for our show to be X-Men. Has been really inspiring. It's been pretty wild to see how many different times you can recompose the main theme in various ways and have it invoke different emotions every time, but it's the same theme. Yeah, they're wizards as far as I'm concerned. They're in the whole music department, and what the Newtons bring, they just elevate the storytelling, the emotion, the melodrama, the action, the horror. They just elevate all of it. They nail it out of the park time and time again, and I wish we could clone them.
What do you want fans to walk away saying about this series?
What do I want fans to walk away from saying about this series? One, they liked it. Give us more, because getting to work on X-Men is great. But most importantly, I want, as true as it was in the mission statement in the Bible, from day one, people walking away willing to talk, willing to open up a dialogue, and willing to just see a point of view that they would not have normally seen before. Just to think, just to get the brain gears going, just to get the heart gears going, just to want to talk.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released.